I made these two ethereal wispy resin blooms on a shimmery background. Let's start with our first bloom in this triangular coaster. This tiny plank is a support to move the filled coaster around. First, I'm mixing my resin. I'm using a slow cure, low viscosity resin which is mixed at a 2:1 ratio by weight. After mixing it thoroughly, I'll pour some resin into a separate mixing container. Now, let's add a few drops of white alcohol ink. This is what will cause the primary sinking action. Now, some white mica pigment to add a little shimmer to the petals. We will now mix this thoroughly into a uniform mixture. Now, both the main resin and the ink mix can degas. First, I'll pour the resin into the coaster mold and let it rest for at least 10 minutes. This waiting period allows the resin to degas. One of the recurring challenges I run into with uncured resin surfaces like this one is this constant war with airborne enemies. I have to work in a well-ventilated space, but the more airflow I have, the more dust and lint seems to find their way onto my work. It's like they're drawn to the resin like bees to honey. I'll run a toothpick along the edges to ensure there are no air pockets, as these can be difficult to fix later. Now it's time to begin pouring the bloom ink mix. I'll give it a quick stir before pouring. I'm guessing that the alcohol in the ink should have already dissipated by now, so this is really just a mixture of the pigments from the ink and the mica powder. Both have a heavy settling tendency, which combined with the movement of the resin should create the bloom effect. I'll do a quick drop test to check if the resin is ready for pouring. The drop is floating, which means the resin is ready. Okay, that went wrong. Let's see how I can make use of this. I'll try to create a similar pattern in all my petals. This requires me to be a little more careful. Today my pour is extra clumsy. This looks less like a flower and more like 3 coffee beans lying side by side. I'm curious to see how this turns out, so I won't mess with it any further, even though I am tempted to do more fixing with my toothpick. It's been a little while and you can see the resin has already started to bloom. Now let's define the petals a bit before letting this cure overnight. In this bloom, the materials are minimal. There is no glitter or caviar beads to mark the center. The blooming action should do that job for us. Now for my favorite part, the swirl. With the hexagonal coaster, we will jump directly to pouring the resin petals. The previous steps are the same as the triangular coaster. I usually work on both coasters at the same time so I can compare if the bloom technique differs due to shape and size. I have found that the most generous blooms in terms of movement and visual impact requires more surface area. Both the coasters I am using here fall on the smaller side. Look at that, it's so pretty. Let's come back and check on this tomorrow. It's time for the background layer. I'm going to give a dark background but with a touch of color, as I like to do. This one will be a combination of blue pigment powder with some black alcohol ink. The black will give it a nice depth and the blue will provide shimmer. For the center, I am going to add a little more black ink to the resin and create a cool gradient effect in the background. And for the hexagonal coaster, I'm thinking of using yellow as a complement to the blue. I'm deliberately skipping the dark pigment this time because I want to see how the white ink behaves on its own with this light colored background. Okay, let's get this out of its mold. The background has a lovely gentle gradient and you can see the way the white pigment plays inside the resin when you look at it from the side. Oh wow, this looks absolutely fantastic. It's so incredibly delicate. It honestly looks like a rose folded from a translucent fabric, almost like a veil. You can even see the shimmer of the pigments within the petals. While I could have given it an opaque background for more contrast, I'm so glad I didn't. I prefer this visual softness it has. The way the pigments have moved and folded over each other in the center is beautiful. I'm so happy I decided against using any glitter or caviar beads. The yellow coaster is all ready. Check out the play of the white petals from the side. Wow! The light color is working so nicely with this wispy design. The contrast is less, but I feel like the shimmer of pigments is bringing the whole thing together. The movement and the form of the pigments in the resin petals are very reminiscent of Art Nouveau. You could probably add another darker layer to make them pop, but I prefer this more delicate look. I was even thinking this could be a paperweight for Elrond. The color palette is so Rivendell. And that's the finished piece. I'm so happy with how this project turned out. We leaned into a more delicate aesthetic, letting the pigments create their own magic. The result is a piece with incredible visual softness. The translucent feel and the gentle shimmer are what makes it so unique. It just goes to show you don't always need glitter or bold contrast to make something beautiful. I am definitely going to be exploring this technique more in future projects. I hope you enjoyed the making of these coasters. My blooming journey will continue and I'll keep sharing what I learned. I wanted to make a quick comparison with another coaster made of the same mold using slightly different materials and timing, and it made the world of difference. Which style do you prefer? Let me know in the comments below. Happy crafting and have a wonderful day.